Prosegur is the company moving the money across the globe. We are running the business in more than 20 countries, and the number of employees that we have in Prosegur Cash are more or less 30,000. We need to implement RPAs within our companies as much as possible, to move people to do more intellectual things, more braining things. With artificial intelligence, I would say something a little bit more advanced, Artificial intelligence could help you to make your intellectual work better. You have to decide something, and a machine could tell you much deeper information about the problem you have to resolve. Technology is key to create a successful business, and I have that sentence in mind every day.
This is CIONET TV. My name is Hendrik Deckers. I'm here today with Ignacio Cea, who is the Global General Manager New Businesses at Prosegur Cash. A very warm welcome, Ignacio.
Hello, Henrik. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Ignacio, and I'm looking forward to doing this interview with you. Now, Ignacio, you have a Master in Industrial Engineering Electricity from the Technical University of Madrid. You have an MBA of the Escuela de Organización Industrial at Madrid, and you have a rich CV in the banking sector. You worked for banks like Banco Santander, Barclays Spain, and 9 years at Bankia. And since September 2021, you are at Prosegur Cash, where you basically advise and you lead the organization through change and to growth. So Ignacio, tell us a little bit more about yourself, where you're from, who are you, what's your background, and how did you arrive in this position?
Okay, thank you. all the problems that I have is because I am a little bit elder. So they say my background is mainly in the technology sector, no? Even working for banking industry, but mainly in the technology sector, no? I am industrial engineer, as you mentioned before, and I have been working in the banking industry for many years, mainly in Santander Group, in Latin America specifically, traveling a lot from Madrid to there, and in, developing all the franchise that Santander Group has there, and in Barclays Bank doing something similar, but in the rest of Europe, and in Bankia, I joined Bankia, to recover Bankia from the bankruptcy, as you know, that happens in, I don't remember the year, but it's 2012, I think it was the bankrupt. So this is the main background that I have. After that, CaixaBank decided to merge with Bankia, and I jump over other sector, totally different sector. Is at Prosegur, and Prosegur, Prosegur Cash specifically is the company leading or moving, the money across the globe. So it's a very beautiful challenges that we will talk about later, probably, no?
Yeah. So, I mean, you like to transform. You have worked in Latin America. You have traveled the world. You have traveled Europe. Lots of international experience. So, tell us, what is that? You say Prosegur Cash, we move cash around. But tell us a little bit more about the business. What is it that Prosegur Cash really does, and what do they do really, really well?
Okay, Prosegur Cash, the main business is moving the cash, in the among the different customers.
The paper money.
The banknotes, no? The banknote, the coins, this kind of stuff. No, obviously, it was a very interesting industry many times ago. It's still a very interesting industry. So it doesn't mean that the banknotes are going to disappear. I really think that they are still stand, across the different times, no? Because money means, at the end of the day, money means many things for the people. Money, having banknotes or having coins means such a kind of freedom. You are able to spend the money where you want, no? And you are not, at the end of the day, you are not totally controlled. So many countries and many people, want at the end of the day to manage the concept of cash.
Yeah.
So Prosegur Cash has this challenge, has the challenge to still provide freedom, such a kind of freedom to the people, and managing, physical cash, but in a virtual environment. So we are investing a lot in moving, what Prosegur means now in the physical arena, to the virtual arena, let's say. For instance, if I may, let's say, as an example, let's say that, but the physical node has to be, let's say, stored in some places, and you need to take care of those banknotes in the time you move those banknotes from one place to another. But you can do exactly, and you need exactly the same with the virtual banknotes. No, you need to take care of the tokens, and you to store the tokens in some place. So at the end of the day, the challenges we have managing virtual banknotes or virtual coins are exactly the same that the ones that you have managing physical ones. So this is the challenge that we have, moving the company from a physical world, let's say, to a digital one, let's say. No?
And how big is the company? How many people work there, and also how many people maybe in IT, to give us some numbers?
Well, the company is in all over the world. Let's say we are running the business in more than 20 countries. And the number of employees that we have at Prosegur Cash are more or less 30,000 people around the globe. So most of them in Latin America, but also in Europe and in Asia. No? We have 20 countries.
And I understand you have huge warehouses full of cash, right?
Yeah.
Billions and billions of
trillions
dollars and trillions of banknotes in your very secure warehouses, I'm sure. So the challenge of Prosegur Cash is that cash is step by step less important, let's say, the physical cash, and is being replaced by digital cash and tokens and so on. So that's a serious challenge for the company, and that's why they brought you in, right? So tell us a little bit about what is your function. I mean, you are the global general manager, new businesses. So you need to transform, because that's what you like to do. You like to transform businesses. You helped in saving Bankia. So tell us a little bit what your function is in the organization today. Okay,
I would like to say first that the vision of Prosegur Cash, let's say, is clear in this aspect. Let's say the CEO of the company, that is my boss, by the way, let's say, has decided, designed, let's say, a very strong concept, let's say, to move the company from one place to another. So we have set up 3 different, let's say, areas in the company. One is innovation. So they are accountable, let's say, for creating new solutions, new products, new ideas, let's say, around our core, but moving forward from our core. Then we have an area that is aimed to get those ideas, once they have been tested and proved that they are okay for the world, let's say, and that there is aimed to grow that business up to certain level, let's say. And once you have that level reached, you move into the core business. So you are replacing a little by little, let's say, the core business with new ideas and new solutions. This is the chain, the gears that has been created, let's say, to change the company. So we have very strong leadership in each of ones. No? I am the head of the second. So I am responsible to getting those initial ideas from the innovation, moving, let's say, those ideas up to a certain level, and then once they have that level, move it back into the core business. So it's a very amazing business. You are always doing new things. You are getting new things, creating new ideas around, and then moving back into them, and you start again. So it's very interesting from my understanding. It's very challenging because you, at the end of the day, you have to fight, let's say, against, let's say, the core, because the core is stable, is permanent, is very profitable. So you have to fight against them. But in this chain of years that I like to say, are working very, I would say, pretty well in Prosegur Cash. It's a very installed procedure to work in Prosegur Cash.
Okay.
So this is the challenge.
So there's a clear mechanism, there's a clear methodology to kind of almost like reinvent, modernize the organization by first having a garden where you can have innovation and make new things, and then your function is to grow the selected that comes out of that, the well-selected initiatives, And then the third step is to integrate them in the global business.
For you,
so
sorry.
Can you?
Yes? Sorry for interrupt you, but just for you to know, let's say it's very. We measure, let's say, that pace of change. No, we have a measure that we present to the market in a monthly basis, on every 3 months, every 6 months, every year. We present a measure as a number to measure how the pace of the change is going, no? And we measure the size of the new businesses, no? Which is the size within the company of those new businesses, no? In the number for you to know is today 24%. So it means that 24% of the P&L of Prosegur Cash is coming now from that new, what we call new businesses, no? And the intention of the company is in the strategic plan of the company. We have to reach at least 40% of new businesses by 2030. So this is clear. Everybody knows in the company. It's a very simple, let's say, target to understand, and all the company is moving through this way.
So Ignacio, there's a clear methodology in changing the company and reinventing the company, and so you're measuring that. Today, 25% of new, it comes from the new business that needs to grow to 40% by 2030. So give us some idea of the kind of initiatives, the innovation that's going on, and the initiatives that you are growing inside the company.
Okay. We have first to distinguish between 2 or 3, mainly 3 different types of innovations, let's say, because you cannot change the company, or you cannot move the company from one place to another one totally different overnight. No? So you have to do the changes, let's say, little by little. No? You have to change the mind of the people in the way. No? So the different types of innovation depend on let's say, how different are they from the core, let's say. So you could do something that is first close to your core, that is moving money, but probably in another businesses that are not in your core today. Second, you can do things, services, add value around moving money, let's say, moving still physical money. And then the third level of innovation could be to do something totally different. For instance, managing virtual coins. No, for instance, those could be the 3 levels of innovation. No? Now I would say that we are in the running the first 2 levels, and let's say experimenting with the third. No, for instance, we are not used to work with the customers directly. Let's say we usually move the money from one business to another business, from a bank to our vaults, from one big retailer to our vaults, and from a vault to the bank. This kind of movement is the one that we used to do across the globe. No? But we never, up to now, let's say, we never go directly to the final customer. So it could be one of the businesses that we could run, let's say, moving still money, physical money, but a little bit far away from our actual core, our actual situation. For instance, we are deploying many branches across the globe, let's say, in the foreign exchange industry. No? So it means that we will need to move physical coins, but in a way we have a direct contact, a direct touch with the final customer. No? This is something that we are running today. No? As a consequence of the COVID, this industry has fallen a lot. No? So it's a very good moment to get that opportunity, let's say, to enter the market in a very, let's say, cheap way, let's say, or cheaper way, enter the market, let's say, take over, let's say, that industry in some way, and then with a very strong company such as Prosegur is, to recreate the business back and having the leadership of this. So this is one of the places that we are entering in. No? Other possibility could be another example, very good example, is that at the end of the day, for instance, imagine a big retailer. In a big retailer, you can pay with cash, you can pay with cards, you can pay with many different means. But if you pay with coins, with money, the retailer has to store the banknotes until after one day and a half, 2 days even, they move that money into the account, into the bank. And the bank puts that money into the account, let's say, 1 day later. So you, from the day you have the money physically in the retailer until the day you have the money in the account, you have in between, you have 3 days. So one possibility is to put in some place that money in the retailer and immediately having that money in the account. So you don't have that time in between. So we're investing a lot of, let's say, in technology to do that possible, that possibility, you know? And it's working. So it's one of the, let's say, new businesses that is obviously is close to our current core, but it's not something that we used to do in the past. You know? So those are two examples that the things we are doing. In the level 3, we're investing, let's say, in digital bolts. Let's say we are taking care of the tokens of some exchangers, some very famous exchanges in the market, and they need to custody, let's say, the tokens. In this case, they are not physical, no, but virtual, let's say, things. But they need to custody those tokens in some place. So we are doing also so, and we are selling that service to all the customers. We are growing a lot in that space also.
Okay. So does that mean when we say tokens, is that cryptocurrencies that we're talking about? Is that and so you see that as a big opportunity for Prosegur Cash?
Yeah. Well, it's not only about cryptocurrencies; it's crypto assets. Imagine, let's say, anytime diamonds, for instance, could be an asset, something that you have in the physical area, but you have a reflect in the virtual one. Cryptocurrencies for sure could be one of them, but crypto assets in general, pictures, something with value, let's say, at the end of the day. That is part of our core. Let's say we move not only banknotes, we move physical assets across the globe, no? Mainly banknotes, but also many other things, no? It's the same, but in the virtual space. No?
Yeah, because I mean, the world of cryptos, NFT, and so on is still a wild west today. I mean, big exchanges and platforms being hacked and so on and so on. So that's an added value that you guys can bring with the reputation, and you can bring security to that world of tokens and digital assets.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, that's the way.
Okay, Ignacio, that means that Prosegur Cash is completely changing. It's becoming more and more a digital company, and more offering digital services. So that's a big change. Tell us a little bit about that, of the role of technology in that change.
Okay, technology is crucial, let's say, in this change, no? From many different aspects. In some of the businesses, it's crucial to make it happen. Let's say, for instance, in virtual, let's say, cryptocurrencies management is crucial because you need pure technology for managing this kind of tokens and assets. No, in other places, let's say, for instance, the foreign exchange that I mentioned before, technology could be also crucial. For instance, to make it profitable enough, that business. Let's say you have to introduce crucial technology from the early beginning to improve the income, to improve the cost of the business, or even to create new services around. No? For you to know, if I am able, using technology to improve the income of the foreign exchange business in just one single percentage, the impact in the P&L could be enormous. And if I am able to understand better, a little bit more better, how the passengers in an airport move, and I am able to create shifts in my staff, let's say, totally aligned with the movement of the passengers in an airport, the reduction of the cost could be enormous too. So I will be able to increment doing those two things, let's say, a little clearly the P&L. And for doing so, I need technology. I need data analysts. I need everything integrated in real time all over the world. So I need pure technology. This is what I am trying to deploy in the space. No?
Wow, and that's quite a challenge. So you're building a technology company inside Prosegur, which is a traditional cash moving business. So that's quite a challenge. Must be amazing. Tell us a little bit how hard is that? How different, and how do you organize that? Where do you get your talent from? How do you organize your technology platforms and your teams? Is that together? Is that in the traditional IT team of Prosegur, or is that a separate team? How is that organized?
Okay, we use both. Let's say we have. First of all, I would say that in Prosegur we have the technology divided or split. I would say in three main layers. Let's say we have people managing what we call the core IT. The core IT means the ERP, the people system, earnings systems, this kind of stuff that are at the core of the company. Then you have a specific technology per business. It's not the same the technology you need for managing let's say the tracks moving money, that the system that you need for managing the guardians, let's say taking care of some building, that is not the same. No. They are not the same system. So you need a specific system for managing a specific businesses. So this is the second layer, let's say, or the second part of the technology. And the third part of the technology are the new things, the totally new things. No. So you need to introduce those new things using third parties, because it's not at your core. So you need to collaborate with other companies, bringing you that company into bringing that technology into your company. No? So and I work with those three levels. No, you need to coordinate and you need to determine where to put the technology you want to install and in the right place. No? For instance, for that. Data that I want, or new focus of the data that I want to implement, I am using a third-party company. No? For, let's say, for the accounting system of that new business, for sure, I use the core IT part. No? So depending on what you want to do, you have to determine where to implement the technology you want to use. No? And obviously, you need to create such a kind of virtual team for bringing everything together. No, you cannot deploy a full business using those three legs, let's say, totally separately. You need to coordinate all of them. You need to create a virtual team among all those three different legs. No, and for doing so, obviously, you need a very strong leadership. No? You need, first of all, a very strong vision. Let's say, this is what I want to do, this is what we want to do, this is what we need to do. No? And then repeating, because at the end of the day, you have to repeat the same strategy, the same vision many times, let's say, for everybody to understand it at the end of the day. No? So once you have that, and everybody is in the same page, you need to coordinate, let's say, all those initiatives all together to bring something useful for the company at the end. No? And obviously, you have, in my understanding, you have to lead by example. Let's say by example means that you lead because they follow you, because you do the things that is supposed you have to do. No, that is be totally involved in the operations, be totally involved in the company, be totally involved in all the things that are happening. No.
Yeah. Now, leadership is important for people to be motivated. At the same time, we see on a global scale, I think today, that there's what's being called, that there's a great resignation, that people that work in large organizations, several of them are leaving their jobs and are fed up with big corporates and looking for more exciting and more adventurous way to fill their professional lives. Is that something that you see in your market as well? I mean, you have lots of experience in banks and now at Prosegur and so on. Do you see that happening in where you are in the world where you work? Do you see that there's a resignation, that people are looking for more meaningful jobs and so on? Is that a phenomenon that you recognize?
Yeah. Definitely, I recognize that phenomenon. No? And it's not too much, let's say, nowadays in Prosegur Cash, but I have seen that movement, let's say, in the other companies I have passed through. No? The question we should have is why? No, why, and what can we do, let's say, to avoid or or not. I don't know, to avoid this way of behavior. No? And I think that let's say we have been creating companies for many years. Let's say that are like a big factory. Let's say you have different silos, no? And the silos within a company works totally separately from each other. No? So you have one team, one area doing something, and moving that piece to the other silo, to the other silo, to the other silo, for finally delivering something, or is supposed to deliver something for the final customer. So when you work in a silo, this is my first thought, let's say, thinking in Great Resignation. No? But when you think in a silo, and if the people working in the silo usually don't have any kind of vision about what is happening in the full company, and they don't have, let's say, real control of the value that they are, let's say, creating for the final customer. So this is one of the reasons of the Great Resignation. People don't know which is the value they are creating for the final customer, or for the society, or even for the company. They just work doing something in a daily basis, no? And it's very frustrating, let's say, in the current days, working in this way. You know? You go every day, you have to spend a lot of time in your company, and you do something that you don't know what it is for. No? So it's awful. So this is the first thing. No? The second is,
so we need to give people the purpose. We need to explain them what the purpose is of their job and how they contribute to the clients.
I would say more. I would say that moving closer to the final customer, let's say, you need to work in something that has been created for the customer to solve that problem, and you are part of it. No? Working in that specific area, but you have to do something for the final customer, no? And you know what is the thing you have to deliver for the final customer, no? So this is for me the first, no? Second, I would say that even if the people know what they are creating for the final customer, usually they do something very repeatable. You know, let's put in a thumb in a paper. Putting a thumb in a paper. I know what is for the final customer, but it's something that you could avoid. No, it's something that at the end of the day, it could be done by a machine. No, and people know that things could be done by a machine. So they don't like, no? Because it's something that is not. It's nothing intellectual. It's nothing related with the human brain. No? So you need to move people to do things that are based on the mind, no? And put machines to do things that are for machines, you know? So this is the second thing I will say regarding the Great Resignation, no? And the third is obviously is related with the well-being, no? If you are in a company, they will like, let's say, to feel like home, you know. It's say you feel well, let's say, with your colleagues, with the bosses, with the intention of the company, with the future. Let's say you need to feel really comfortable, and you feel at home, no? And we have usually created environments, let's say, to treat people like machines. Let's say, you know, in a box with a computer, with nothing around, talking by email, not fomenting, let's say, relationships between people. So we need to get rid of them. No? Yes, we need to create a space, an environment with a very comfortable environment. No, I would say that those are the three things. No,
we need to give people a purpose and explain them and make sure that they understand and that they work closely as possible with the client. We need to give them, automate the boring parts of their jobs basically, and we need to take care of their well-being and that they have a meaningful life in the business as well. Let's zoom a little bit more into the automation part. I mean, we're technologists and we love that part. So in your view, in the banking and in the sector where you are in, so there's a big trend at the moment through companies like UiPath and others with software robots, with automation, with RPA, with the artificial intelligence. What's your view on that? Where do you see the use of these new this new wave of automation tools?
Okay, those tools are very useful for the second thing that I said. No, it's just to avoid boring tasks. No? You put a machine to make things that a machine used to do. That is to repeat things, moving one field from one screen to another, comparing two records that are the same, matching information, loading up automatic information from a paper. Those are things that are perfectly a robot could do. So you need to implement technology for doing those boring things. Let's say I would say, no, and this is for me clear. So we need to implement as a first step. I would say RPAs, let's say, within our companies as much as possible. Let's say to move people to do more intellectual things. Let's say, no, or more braining things. I would say, no. And with artificial intelligence, I would say something a little bit more advanced. Let's say, artificial intelligence could help you. Let's say, to make your intellectual work better. Let's say, if you have to decide something, and a machine could tell you much deeper information about the problem you have to resolve. Perfect. Let's say you will do your intellectual work, let's say, better than not having that information analyzed. No, so artificial intelligence is a step further. Let's say, first of all, you automatize, let's say, those things. You move people to do more intellectual things, and then you put in artificial intelligence to provide more information, deeper information for people to do their job. No, that's how I say it's not easy. It's not easy for two reasons. Because for implementing that kind of technology, you need very skilled people. Let's say it's not something that you can do probably with the skills that you have within the company nowadays. So you have to contract new guys. You have to train in you people to do or to use those systems. You have to invest a lot in the movement from boring things to automatic things to adding value in your decisions. No, you have to invest a lot of money. So it's clear, in my opinion, that during the way, in the travel, you spend much more that is effective, because you have to still run the very old boring things, and at the same time you are changing those things into a new job. So you are investing double at the end of the day. No? So it's a very long run job, a very long run task, and managers need to know that you have to invest time and money for a long time. You know.
Yeah. And where do you see opportunities within Prosegur Cash to use these new set of tools? And are you using artificial intelligence and other things in your new businesses part as well?
Yeah. As I commented before, let's say we have a lot of data, but we don't use them as much as we need. Let's say as much as we could. I would say, no. For instance, as I said before, if we have information about the transactions that are happening in airport, the flights that are coming into the airport, the flights that are departing from the airport, and you have the number of people in those flights, the countries, the destination countries, the source of the passengers. You have many data. You have a lot of data. So you need systems, you need big technology, let's say, to analyze that data. So, but if you do it, let's say, you could get, let's say, a lot of value from that data to improve your business, to treat better your customer, to create new businesses. So I am really a believer of using that kind of technology for improving the businesses and the service to the customer. And I would say the other way around: the service to the customer and then your business. No? And the same with the core. With our core, let's say, imagine we move a lot of trucks today. So imagine the data that we could gather, let's say, from those tracks. No? If we implement, and we are implementing, by the way, IoT, for instance, in those tracks. No? Where are they? How much time they spend, let's say, stopped, let's say, in a traffic jam? How much, blah, 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 blah. If you analyze those data, you could estimate much better the price of your service, the service to the customer, many things. So we are improving and we are implementing artificial intelligence, for instance, also in that space.
Yeah. So you used to be CIO before. Now you have more like, let's say, a business role as well. So and so you're doing transformation programs. So how different is that, being in a pure CIO role and now in a business role and being responsible for creating new business, for growing new businesses? How do you look at that? Because not too many CIOs grow through this glass ceiling almost and become really business leaders, right?
Yeah, right. It's totally different. First of all, let's say the focus that you have is different. Let's say from the CEO perspective, your main focus has to be in the P&L, has to be in the value that you add to the company or to your shareholders. And from the CIO perspective, you take more care about, let's say, the technical stuff, no? Or everything runs perfectly with no problems, with the minimum cost possible, and let's say trying to provide value to the company, but from that perspective. And you don't have, let's say, any, let's say, a minimal view of the final P&L. Let's say. So now, from the CEO perspective, you need to take care every day of the P&L. It's very different. No? So when you invest something, you need to see which is going to be the impact in the P&L, and which is the story that you have to tell to your stakeholders to support your investment. No? So it's different, but very amazing. So this is in one of the hands. No? In the other hand, I would say that it's much more interesting, that movement, than the other way around. No? I mean, from the CEO perspective, the first thing I'm becoming from the CIO, let's say, I don't think in creating any business not based totally in technology from the beginning. So this is clear and this is key. So technology is key to create a successful business. And I have that sentence in mind every day. So I would say that this is the difference of having a CEO coming from a CIO. No?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll see more business leaders, CEOs that have a CIO background in the future, because technology is so important in all the growth and transformation that businesses are going through. Tell us a little bit about, how does your normal workday look like? Ignacio, where do you spend most of your time today? What people, where do you focus on? What is fundamentally your role in the business today?
Okay, I would say that we have creating new or making businesses bigger. Let's say you have three focus. No? First is, I would say that first is people. People, you have to create. You have to introduce the idea of those new businesses in your team and in the team that is going to work with you from the other parts of the company. So this is key. Mm-hmm. So I spend a lot of time, let's say, talking to many people, let's say, about the new ideas, the new businesses, the new P&L, the strategical plans, this kind of stuff. I spend a lot. Second, you need to set up the operations, because setting up operations for supporting those new businesses is not easy. So you need to be at the front, let's say, of what do we need, who is going to be involved in which. So you need to create the operations itself. No, regarding operations, I also speak about technology. Technology is a key part, as I said before, of those operations. So I spend fifth of my time, let's say, talking about the vision of the technology. We have to implement that technology. We have to go through this way. We cannot move, let's say, the final target to a tactical one because we will lose time and money in the middle. So you need to push a lot your vision in technology, your vision in operations, and the vision that you have in the businesses, no? And and in the meantime, we are buying companies, so I work a little bit more, or a little bit too in mergers and acquisitions, this kind of stuff, no? So
okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the people aspect of your job. So how would you? Because I want to understand how you are wired, how you function, and so how would you describe your management style? How do you create successful teams? How do you attract and retain the right people in growing the business? Tell us your secrets on managing people.
Probably I don't have any secret. I think that for creating a successful team, let's say, the first thing I would say you have to take into account is that you have to move on board, let's say, people that you think that is better than you in the different aspects. Let's say, if you try to bring people that is not better than you, you will not have a successful team, in my understanding. So I try to look for people that I recognize better than me in some aspect, because I think that I know a little bit my weaknesses, no? So I try to avoid those weaknesses, bringing people that is better than me in those, no? Second, I would say that you have to try to bring diversity, and by diversity, I don't necessarily mean women, the difference between women and men, no? Diversity is in the brain, no? It's how the brain is wired, no? You have to have people more idealistic, more organized, more imaginative. You have to bring, let's say, many different people in the way they think. It doesn't matter if they are black, white, yellow, men, women, it's the same. But for me, the important thing is people thinking different, no? And the third is respect. I would say that is for me is the key, let's say, aspect. Let's say you have to respect what the rest do. I mean, if something thinks something, if someone thinks something, it's because you have to listen him, at least, or her, no? Because probably there is something, and probably not sure there is something in the background, a very good reason for that opinion, no? And you need to consider that opinion, no? Especially taking into account, for instance, my weaknesses. If I would say that I am a little bit idealist, no? So I am, let's say, in some occasions, let's say, I would say that I am not in the ground. Let's say, I prefer, let's say, to look into the future more than in the present. So I need to listen people thinking in the present, and what are the problems that I am going to have to deliver one idea, no? So you need to listen people and to respect what the people say, and this is for me clear. So having people that think that is better than you, that thinks different, and listen everybody and respect everybody, I think that for me are the three things I would like to highlight.
Okay, what a great way to look at management and how to attract the right people around you and to work with people. Let's talk also a little bit about your leadership style and how do you think that people around you and today and in previous companies, how do you think that you are perceived as a leader? And a good way to ask that question is, what do you think that people will say about you and about your leadership when you're not around?
I don't know.
No, of course not.
I don't know. Let's say people used to say, or they say, that I am trustable. Let's say, if I say something, I do what I say. No? I try to never promise something that I am not able to reach, or I am not able to deliver. No? I prefer, as I say in Spanish, I prefer once red than many yellow. No? You see, you have to say something, or you have to tell him, her something. It's better you to tell him, her at once let's say, instead of going around. So if you promise something, do it. If you don't promise something, let's try to do it. And never do something that you did never before. No. So if you do something, it's because you ask someone to do something, it's because you did it in the past, and they know that you did it in the past. So you are not asking for something just to take it away, no? Because you know what to do and you did it in the past, no? So at the end of the day, you become trustable in the sense that if you say something, they trust you, and it's the best way, in my understanding, to lead people. You promise and you lead, no? If you don't do what you promise, if you don't deliver what you promise, nobody will trust you and nobody will follow you at the end of the day. This is my simple, probably, but my vision.
Let's dig a little bit deeper on who you are and what kind of personality that you have. And so you shared with us that your MBTI personality type is an ANFJ, a protagonist. And these are people that are extroverted, intuitive, and they have a feeling and judging personality. And these are typically warm, forthright types that love helping others and that tend to have very strong ideas, strong values, and they back their perspective with creative energy to achieve their goals. So let's talk a little bit about your strengths and about weaknesses and see if you can relate to these. So typically people with an ENFJ, their strengths are that they are receptive, they're very reliable, and you talked already about that. They're very passionate, can be very altruistic and charismatic. Does that resonate with who you are?
I would say yes, the same. I am extroverted. I say the things that you have mentioned, I recognize. Let's say all of them. No, I am. I don't. Especially, I am passionate. Let's say I'm not. I really start where I really believe in. No, if I don't believe in something, probably I will not do it. No? Because I need to believe in the things I do. No, I try to be very extrovertic. Let's say I am very extrovertic. Let's say I would like to express myself. Let's say in a very clear way. Maybe in some cultures this is a weakness. No, this is a weakness in some cultures because you look like very hard guy. No, it's the way we talk in Spain probably. And but I recognize all the things you have mentioned. That's clearly.
Okay. Now every coin has two sides. So let's look at the other side. And that is where people with your personality, they sometimes have the following weaknesses, or let's call them development areas. And that is sometimes they're unrealistic. They can be overly idealistic. They can be looking down, condescending on other people. Sometimes they are over passionate and too intense. And sometimes they're overly empathetic as well. So which ones do you say, well, that's really me, and how did you overcome these weaknesses? Because, I mean, you made quite a career and have a very important function, so you can't be unrealistic or condescending. So so which ones do you recognize, and how have you overcome these weaknesses?
First of all, I would say that I recognize all of them, first of all. So I try to overcome, let's say, with my team. Let's say, because as I said before, I am not usually fully realistic. Let's say this is true. Let's say I think more probably in the future that I would like to have more than in the world that I am going really to have. No? So I need people around me telling me that things. Let's say, okay, Ignacio, this is a good idea. But take into account that the current situation is this, and you will need that, blah, 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 blah. Let's say you need to have that people in your team. You need to listen to that people, and you need to take those opinions into account, as I said before. No, obviously, it's difficult, but you need to balance. Let's say, because if you have people in your team that is totally realistic and nothing, let's say, unrealistic, let's say, you will not move ever, no? So you need to listen them, to take their opinion into account, but to push them, let's say, to move to the ideal picture, probably taking into account what that guy has said. No? Second, I am very probably empathetic. Let's say I put many times in the shoes of the other, and is clearly, I'm sorry for saying so, yes, everybody to not listen to me, but but it means that sometimes, let's say, I don't push them as much as is needed. No, this is true. This is my weakness. No,
so if I mean, we've spoken now a couple of times, so I see that you're very results driven, but you also like transformation a lot. You like to change things. You like to have a big challenge. Also, relationships and people are very important for you. So, so many different things. But so, what in the core? What is it that really drives you? What at the end of the week needs to happen so that you are a happy person?
Oh, create things from scratch. Let's say having nothing in a paper, and after that having something, whatever means something. Let's say it could be an organization, a new business. For instance, I enjoy my hobby. Is one of my hobbies is to program. I program games. So from scratch, let's say I am not using any kind of library or framework. Let's say in the market. Let's say I like, let's say, to create games from scratch. And why? Because I like, let's say, the challenge that creating a game means. Let's say you need to understand how to create a game, how to move things, let's say, little behaviors in the screen, everybody moving quickly and interacting with each other. It's a challenge, no? And it's against you because there is no other guy in between. Let's say you think in something, you program something, and works or not, but it's only on you. It's only on you. So it's a real challenge. No, creating things for me is what I would like, what I like the most, probably. No, for instance, creating an organization. This is the challenge that I have now. No, you have nothing or almost nothing, and you have to create 30% or 40% of the income of the company around that nothing. You know what I mean? So it's a challenge. You have to move everything. So you need to be very persuasive, very let's say constant. I will say, because if you resilient, you have to be very resilient, because you will have many things telling you just the opposite around. So you have to.
It will not work. Yeah. That's what they say.
So I would say that my core, let's say, is creating things. Is the thing that I really like the most. No?
So we have an idea of your personality, strengths and weaknesses. We know what drives you. Let's go one level deeper in this leadership deep dive, and let's talk about your values and your core values. You shared with us that you have two daughters, 16 and 19 years old, and so I can imagine they're very important for you. So what are the values that you are passing on to your children? What are the core values that drives you and you want your children to be driven from?
Good question, thank you. Difficult question, but I think that the three, I would say, values that I would like to pass to them are, first of all, is respect. Let's say they have. We need to respect everyone. Let's say, or the opinion, not only the opinions, the behavior, the look like, everything. Respect. Let's say. Second, effort. Let's say is everything has to be, in my opinion, everything has to be get. Let's say, with effort. If you don't have effort to get something, you don't value that thing. No, in studies, in life, in everything. So you need to put effort in getting it back something. No? So for instance, I award them, no, if they have a overscore with money. No? We have let's say a variable salary in a monthly basis for them, no? And we award them.
There's a bonus system at home.
Yeah, it's a bonus. It's a bonus. If they have, let's say, such a kind of overscore in the school, is not a normal score. I mean, a 9 or a 10, say we award them with a specific bonus, let's say, and I would say that the third value is happiness. Let's say is you need to enjoy what you have, no? You need to enjoy in a daily basis, not necessarily having a lot of things means enjoy, no? You have to enjoy using the things you have, and not expecting anything else, no? But in the current situation, those are the three values that I would like to pass to them.
Okay. If you look back on your life, what was the best thing that has ever happened to you?
My wife, probably my wife. The moment I found my wife, no, is one of the ladies or one of those persons that you need around to put you on the ground. No, I am very idealistic, and my wife is not. No, so it's very realistic. So we have a very good mixture. Let's say, no. This is
yes.
From the personal aspect. Let's say from the professional aspect. Let's say probably. I have the lucky, let's say, of being involved or have been involved in many transformation projects. Probably because I have been looking for them, no. But this is for me is a very is a gift. Let's say having the opportunity to be involved in transformation project and creating things from many years. No, this is my personal, let's say, my professional. Gift, no?
And in your, and let's again look at personal level and professional level. What was the worst thing that has ever happened to you? I mean, we have good things that happen to us, but also bad things. So what? And how did you overcome that?
Okay, good question again. My failures, let's say, big failures that I have, no, I have had, and obviously I have had many, no, probably many during my long career, no, but because I am not, I would say that trying to get something in the core of those failures, I would say that it's not follow my stomach. Let me try to explain. In many situations, you have one feeling, no? Whatever the feeling is. Imagine you are introduced with someone, and you suddenly think or feel that it's not a trustable person. Imagine, no? I mean, for instance, creating a new business. When you want to invest or you think that a technology is good, no? And you should invest in that technology, but you know the person at the front of that company and you feel that the person is not trustable, no? You shouldn't invest in that company. But I do. I invest in the company. Why? Because I think that the technology is good for blah, blah, blah. No? So it's one of my fellows, for instance. No? I have invested in companies with no success. I wouldn't say so, because it's not necessary that you have in everything you invest a clear successful, no? But with a bad behavior, let's say, in terms of people later, no? And it's because not following that feeling in my stomach, no? You need to listen a little bit more. I would like to listen a little bit about my stomach instead of only my brain, no? For instance, my wife feels in the other way around. She always think with the stomach, no? And and she says many occasions, I don't like that guy. I don't like that situation. She's following the stomach, not the brain, no? And this is the right mixture, no? I follow my brain, she follows her stomach, and the mixture is something good in the middle, no?
If you look back in your career, I mean, you had many bosses, I can imagine. So were there some people that were important for you, or did you have some important mentors, or are there people in the business, on the world that you look up to, that you have learned from? Yeah, definitely. And the opposite. I have learned from everyone, no? Good things and bad things. You have to learn. Can you give an example? An example of what you have learned from whom?
For instance, I wouldn't say names, no? But I remember a sentence, many sentences. I try to keep in mind sentences coming from my bosses, no? And I remember one from one of my last bosses telling me at the beginning of when we meet each other, first time, let's say, after a very tough situation in the company, but we meet each other. And he said me, okay, you have my full confidence from the beginning. And the only bad thing you can do is to lose that confidence in the way. Why did I learn something from that sentence? Because the normal sentence is just the other way around. From one own boss, mm-hmm. no, is you don't have my confidence. You have to win my confidence doing things. No, mm-hmm. no. I think that the right approach is just the other. No, is that you have from the beginning you have my full confidence. You can lose that confidence, but you have my confidence. No, for me this is a very let's say fantastic sentence. No, it's one of the things I learned, and. Other thing that I learned, let's say, in the other space, in the bad space, let's say, is okay, don't do something coming from another boss that I had, no? Don't do anything unless I have proof it. No, this is a very bad sentence, no? You know, because okay, guy, don't worry. I will put everything on your table. I will never take any decision. I will never improve anything because you have to decide everything, no? So you're not putting the confidence on your team again, no? You are removing back the confidence from your team in you, no? So this is a very awful sentence for creating let's say, a successful team, no? The right sentence should be, in my opinion, should be, okay, guys, you have the full power to be right or to be wrong. You to decide when to put something to me. I never put something in my table with no decision from your point, no, from your part. If you put something in my table, you have to contrast my opinion and probably to improve the decision, but not for me to decide instead of you, you know? So this is for me 2 sentences, one bad, one good from my bosses. No?
Okay. And so which one is yours? What is your personal mantra? What is the saying that you use to yourself or maybe to the people around you? If you have to make a tough decision or something, what is the mantra that helps you in your life?
Okay, I would say that I probably have many, but the main motto that I have is, I commented before, is never ask for something that you have never did before. Everybody has to recognize in you that you did it the same that you asked them for in the past. No, for instance, please, guy, write or make that presentation for the board of the company. Now everybody has to know that you did it in the past, that you created presentation that is a very tough stuff, you know. Because it's very manual, very repeatable, etc. But you did it in the past, so you are not asking them for something that you did not it in the past. No? For me, it would be clear, and never you. And the other I would say is put your passion in all the things you do. If you don't believe in something, don't do it. Don't do it. Mm-hmm. You will waste your time and the time of the rest. So don't do it. Take away. Ask for moving away, let's say, to another part of the company. It doesn't matter, but don't do it. No. So you need to involve in something because you have passion in it. Otherwise, don't do it. No.
So Ignacio, we're coming to the last question of this interview, and thank you for your time and for sharing all your wisdom with us. So. These videos are watched by many people around the world, including young, ambitious professionals that want to become successful business leaders like yourself and that want to follow in your footsteps. So what is the advice that you would give to young and future leaders around the world? How can they also build success?
Very difficult question, by the way. But I would try to summarize, let's say, my thoughts in three points. No, first is ambitious is good. I think by the right level of ambitious. Let's say, always respect anyone. Let's say, never pass over anyone. Let's say respect everyone with ambitious in your ideas, in your targets, in your position future, in your future position in the company, whatever you want, but respecting the rest. No, so ambitious is good. Mm-hmm. It's the way to overcome everything and to become successful and to become part of the very big leadership staff. No, so it's good. Second, I would say is work. You have to work a lot. Never come for free. Never come something for free. You have to invest your time, your money, and especially your effort. So if you do that, you will get something back. If you don't do that, you will never get something back. No. So for me, this is the second. Third, never think. And maybe this is something strange, but never think in money. Think in doing things. Only. Money will come, for sure. Money will come. If you are good in your job, if you have ambitions, if you work hard, if you respect each other, if you, let's say, little by little go up in the company or in the organization or in the responsibilities, money will come. Never think necessarily the money. Obviously, I'm sorry for saying so, you need a minimum, let's say, to be, let's say, satisfied enough. I say, okay, I understand, but money will come.
So Ignacio, thank you for your time today. Thank you for sharing your ideas. Thank you about leadership, about the organization, about your personality, your dreams, your goals, and so on. It was really a pleasure. I look forward to meeting you in Madrid very soon. Okay, thank you, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here and explain my thoughts. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. See you soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.